For this part of the lesson, go ahead and start a new file. You can just go up to the top of the screen under File, New. Now, depending on what kind of SketchUp template you're using, it'll affect the next part of the lesson. Here I'm using just the default SketchUp 3D view architectural template. So if you go up to the top of the screen under File, we want to take a look at importing the CAD drawings that we've just exported from the previous file. So under File, Import, you'll see the option for file format listed as AutoCAD files. Here, if I select Options, you'll see that there are a few things that you can click through. Here you can select the default unit of measurement for the file that you're about to bring into SketchUp. There are also some other checkboxes here that I want to run through briefly. The first one here for Preserve Drawing Origin is really useful if you're working on smaller scale stuff. The example that we're going to look through in this lesson is a small example of a house. And a lot of times, if we're working with residential models, we definitely want to have that checkbox checked. What it does is essentially allows you to make revisions to your CAD file and then import future versions of that CAD file back into your SketchUp model. And the SketchUp model will sort of know where that CAD plan is relative to the origin. So if you started your SketchUp model with a CAD drawing and then built up from that, changed the CAD file later, and then imported a new version of the CAD drawing, the new version of the CAD drawing is going to come in at exactly the same place. So you can kind of compare between the model that you've got and see where the model is off relative to the new version of the plan. Now that being said, if you're working on a project that's a really big project, maybe you've got a survey and you're talking acres and acres of property that's been surveyed. A lot of surveys that I've seen that come into SketchUp from CAD have the origin set way far away from the actual location of the project. They may be using some kind of geo-coordinate reference for the origin of the CAD drawing. If you have the checkbox for Preserve Drawing Origin checked, in that case, you'll find that your drawing could be thousands and thousands of feet away from the drawing origin in SketchUp. And typically that'll cause some problems with the navigation tools, some of the camera tools, and even some of the section tools that we've looked at. So if you're working on a survey where the origin is really far away from the drawing, you might want to leave that box unchecked. But in this case, since we're working on something that's at a much smaller scale, we're going to leave it checked so that we can see some of the options there. The other two checkboxes, Merge Coplanar Faces and Orient Faces Consistently, I typically always have on. They're especially relevant if you're going back and forth between SketchUp and CAD using 3D CAD files, like in Vectorworks and Revit, or even in AutoCAD, where you have the option to build 3D models in CAD. You can bring those models back and forth between your CAD program and SketchUp. Again, we're not really looking at that process in detail in this lesson because most of the people out there are using CAD as a 2D app, and so we're really looking at the integration between 2D CAD files and then using SketchUp for all of your 3D modeling. But those buttons are good ones to have checked if you decide to experiment with some of the options for importing 3D CAD files. From here, I'm going to click the button for OK, and then select one of the DWG files that we had exported from the previous model. In this case, I'm going to select the plan drawing that we had imported and select the option there for Import. Click OK, and then I can use the Zoom Extents tool to view the entire plan. Now,